Can you please introduce yourself for me?
My name is Debbie Jones, and I work at Allen Hancock College Public Safety Training Center.
Very good, very good. And what is exactly that you do?
I'm Emergency Medical Services and Public Safety Training Officer.
Very good. So you teach those who serve, first responders.
Yeah, I teach EMTs, first responders. I do community services. I do public ed. I also go on the outskirts of the college and do big corporations for OSHA.
Oh, very good, very good.
CPR, first aid stuff.
Very good. Okay. Why did you pick this career?
I graduated from Cal Poly in 1981, and when my father became really ill, I chose to learn a little bit more than what my majors were, which were animal science and rec administration. So I took an EMT class at Cuesta, and so 3 months out of graduating from Cal Poly, I started this career.
Wow.
And I've had it ever since.
And you've taught a lot of people, a lot of public health related information.
Yes, and I've worked out in the field for over 30 years on an ambulance and also in the ERs.
But now you're teaching all those who respond. Very good. If you had to do it again, would you choose this same career?
Yes, I would.
Any specific reason? The joys of it?
It's nice to see people come to your door that you've taught, and you know that when you're giving that education, you're trying to create the personality that has the heart to want to do it. It's not just a uniform. And we want them pretty versatile. We don't want them just to, actually direct their services just towards one type of person. They need to work with everybody of all needs.
Okay. What is the best thing and the worst thing about this career?
The best thing is seeing my students move on, and I actually get to see them out on the streets working and seeing the things I've done over the years, and just remembering these students, and they remember me, and knowing that what I did made a great impact. And probably the worst thing, or the hardest thing, is when you lose somebody in the field you've worked with.
Yeah.
And, tragedies like when you see things that just happened in Isla Vista, and the people that are responding out there to take care of these people are some of your friends that are working on those ambulances. And safety factors. And
that's I was a medic for years too, so I know what you're talking about. It's hard on the heart.
Absolutely.
The post-traumatic stress and all that good stuff, and how you deal with it all.
Correct. And you don't sometimes.
No?
It stays with you for many, many years.
And maybe that's a good thing that it does stay with you. Yeah. And the worst thing, you talked about that already. What advice would you give someone who's planning to go into this career?
I always tell young students, we do a lot of career days for children that are even in middle school all the way up through high school. Don't make a decision because it can change at the last minute. But if you choose to go into this field, it opens a lot of doors, not just working on an ambulance, but some people have even progressed into working into emergency rooms, have become physicians, surgeons. I mean, it's endless, but at least if you have this type of training under your belt, somebody goes down out on the street next door, you'll feel comfortable enough to be able to render care and know that you've done the best you can. That's what matters.
That's exactly. I totally agree with you. We just finished doing the Strawberry Festival, and you were there as well. 150,000 people, maybe 100,000.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, we had a few incidences, so it was good to see your smiling face out there helping.
Thank you.
And we had a couple of incidences when I was. They called me first, which they shouldn't have done, but they didn't think it was medical, so. I actually got called out for a bridge that the railing on the bridge partially collapsed. And they didn't tell me why I was going to a certain location, but when I rounded the corner, I saw an incident with a severely disabled adult male, and his caretaker and sister were holding him up. And because of my previous training, I was able to render aid and then call the medics in. When that was finished, then I turned around and dealt with the bridge rail, which was a completely different issue, but in the same location at the same time. So it's using your skills and your abilities that you trained with in every opportunity that you get. You're always open.
It's a special gift you get to share with people. And, that particular call was a special needs adult. And that's one of my most favorite things to do is to work with people like that, work with the elderly, work with little kids, people that, really are they really depend on your help.
How to serve the whole public as opposed to an individual, even though you're serving the individual.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the most fun things I like to do is I work for the law enforcement side sometimes, and I teach their Title 22.
I don't know what that is.
It's Title 22 First Aid CPR for the police cadets, the candidates.
Okay.
And so I get to teach them how to work with us out in the field.
Oh, that's important.
Yes. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we also provide another class with lifeguard training.
Oh, that's good
So a
too.
lot of our lifeguards eventually go into our EMT or law enforcement or fire programs.
It's nice to get all the first responders together, but if they're fighting each other out in the field, then the public health aspect would go down the drain.
Absolutely.
So training them to get along with each other and learn what each other does is very important. So in public health,
And we all do. We get along.
that's awesome. All right, I will say thank you very much for your time.